Okay, I'll begin with giving a demo of the solver itself. So here's the solver in action. It'll also tell you how many steps it took to the solution as well as the states explored. Remember, states explored is not actually how many that we opened, it's just how many that were pushed into the heap. So it solves a 4x4 without too much problem. But in the case of a 5x5, let me just adjust this real quick. This doesn't always solve, and I'll explain why in a second. But in this case it does, right? And as you can see, it takes a lot more moves, but it does solve it, slowly but surely. And a big reason why it doesn't solve larger n by n boards is because the order of magnitude of just the states you're exploring kind of goes up by a lot every single n you add, which makes the 3x3 seem like nothing. But anyways, let's go through the components. So I have compare nodes, which is used to compare the nodes in a priority queue. Um, Main, we're just running the program. So a node contains a state, essentially, and this state is represented by a string. It also has G and H, which are variables that we give it when we initiate it. G is the path from the starting state to the current state, and H is the heuristic that I'll go into in a second. And it also holds its path in a stack in case we need to recover it once we find the final state. Um, so sub goals as well, they are essentially used when we have a larger n by n board, a board larger than 3x3 essentially. Because for a 3x3, at most we're exploring, worst case, maybe like 20,000, 30,000 states. But as this number goes larger, we might explore over 2 million states for like a 5x5, right? So sub goals are necessary so that the runtime doesn't get too long and also the memory use. Now, everything starts in the model. The model randomizes the board, it initializes the board, and then it pre-computes also certain heuristics that we can use. These are stored in a map, so say we want to find the Manhattan distance from the first index to the 12th index. All you have to put in is your starting index and your ending index, and it will tell you the Manhattan distance. That way we only have to compute it once, and then we can look it up fast. After randomizing the board, we then go to our solver app. So solver app, upon initialization, going to generate some sub goals here. This is only if n is above 5. This is if n is above 4, and this is by default the minimum value of the n. So I found that if you do it this way, actually, instead of for n by n, you put all of them into one goal, like every tile. It doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to find a solution. The reason why is because for a certain n by n board, the parity of the board determines whether it is solvable or not. So, say we have a 3x3, no matter how you move it, the parity doesn't change, right? But for a 4x4, every single time you move it, it changes, and that might affect the inner 3x3 once you're done solving the outer, top row and left column. Um, but anyways, without doing that, I found that the program pretty much never solves, or maybe it will take a long time. If we do it this way, sometimes it won't solve for larger boards, but for 4x4s and 3x3s, it's pretty much guaranteed. The solve app loops through all the sub goals and calls A star on them. So our A star function, we have a min heap, we have an unordered map of visited states, and then we're going to push our initial state in, and we get this from the model, right? And then while the min heap's not empty, essentially we're just going to go traverse all the states, the neighboring states of the top of the min heap based on the lowest f of n value. And f of n is a combination of linear conflict and either Manhattan distance or Chebyshev distance. So Manhattan distance being the vertical plus horizontal distance, and Chebyshev being the larger of the two multiplied by 2. And if it is, sorry, I should probably explain this. If it is an ending sequence, if the sub-goal is an ending sequence, then we will actually check if the inner, say 3 by 3 or 2 by 2 is solvable. And that actually happens, I believe, up here. Yeah. So there's actually different conditions for whether these are solvable or not. If it's not an ending sequence, we just push the steps to the model and keep going. But like I was saying earlier, the parity must be even for odd n, and if it is an even n, then it depends on the blank's row from the bottom. So if the blank is, say, in the bottom row, then the parity must be even. And if it is in the second bottom row, then it must be odd, and so on and so forth. That's about it. Thank you for watching.